Good morning. I'm so excited to have everybody here this morning. You know, we've had the opportunity to do this Innovation Challenge. This is our second year, so we're excited about the opportunity to do this again. We really wanted to do this 3 years in a row, but obviously we had a little situation called COVID that kept us from doing it back in 2020. But here we are again. We're back. The Altec Innovation Challenge is an opportunity for Altec to partner with our local school systems to really come up with innovative solutions for real-world problems. Things that are facing our communities, our school systems. And so what we've asked is that we develop teams at our local school systems to compete in this challenge where you take STEM solutions to solve real-world problems. We're going to get the opportunity to see some really innovative ideas today. I've had the chance to look at some of the proposals. I'm really excited about the competition today. We had, at the beginning of this, there were 32 teams. 32 teams that put in proposals. 32 teams that were fighting for the opportunity to stand in front of this audience today, in front of this group of judges, and get the opportunity to portray their proposal, present their proposal. 10 teams got selected by leadership at the local schools. Of those 10 teams, you get the opportunity to compete today for a cash prize, if you will, of $10,000. $10,000 will go back to the school systems, go back to the school of the winning team, for the opportunity to implement the proposal, to implement that solution for that real world problem. We're really excited about that. The top 3 teams, each individual on the top 3 teams will receive a gift card from Altec just for your participation and your presentation and the power that you brought today. So we're super excited to do that above and beyond the $10,000. We're also excited for the opportunity to have this panel of 6 judges in front of me, this distinguished panel of 6 judges. I told the judges earlier that it was going to be hard for me to call them distinguished because I've worked with each one of them. I know them pretty well, but they are distinguished, as much as I give them grief. Great group of people. This group of judges are going to be rating the presentations based on 4 really key points. First thing they're going to be doing is looking at the degree of impact. Is this solution going to really make a change? Is it really going to have the degree of impact that we see in the presentations today? We're also going to be looking at the feasibility of the solution. How feasible is it for the implementation plan? They're going to be looking at sustainability. What's the long-term trajectory of this opportunity? And then obviously the presentation. The flow of the presentation, the skills and the presentation done by the group that's going to facilitate. A couple of things logistically that I want to talk about real quick. First of all, please, as they are presenting, we would like it if everybody would refrain from leaving the room in the middle of a presentation. That can be disruptive, and obviously we want to make sure that they have the appropriate environment to be successful. Okay? Each team has 7 minutes to present. Now at 7 minutes, my cohort over here, Trevor Dobble, is going to stand up. He is our timer. He's going to stand up at 7 minutes as your warning that you need to be concluding. Okay? After that 7 minutes is over, you're going to have 4 minutes of questions and answers. Water is available in the back of the rooms. We've got water and Powerades in the back of the room in the cooler, so if you're thirsty, please go get that. Restrooms, if you're not familiar with the facility, you can actually go out the door and hang a left or right, and you'll get to bathrooms. They've got them both places, so it's a great facility we've got the opportunity to use today. We will be doing the judge deliberation at noon. So during the noon time frame, the judges will go into another room. They will deliberate over the proposals, and they will select a winner. After that deliberation is over, they will come back. We will all come back in the room, and we will present the winner of the 2nd annual Altec Innovation Challenge. Are there any questions? Are you all ready? Oh, if that's all you got today, you're not going to make it. Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Well, this is going to be an exciting opportunity. I hope everybody enjoys it. I hope everybody does a great job, and I hope you have a great learning experience. So with that, I'm going to introduce the first team. And I'm going to apologize in advance if I butcher somebody's name. I tried real hard, but there are some tough names on here, so I'm going to go with it. Okay, the first group is going to be presenting on bus shelter. This group is from John Harden, and this group is made up of Jared Nunley, Jacob Sanders, Braden Marcuson, Cameron Dickens, Deshaun Odie, Yuxing Lin, Daniel Jing, and Lily Buchanan. If you all will, come on up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yuxiang. This is Jacob, Gerald, Cameron, Braden, Daniel, Deshaun, and Lily. And we're the bus shelter group. So throughout the school year, inclement weather such as rain, snow, cold, can leave students like me waiting outside, shivering, or trying to protect the expensive laptop the school has provided us. And just not every parent can provide their child with transportation.
For our solution, we have proposed to make a portable bus shelter for students who can't be picked up in front of their own house. These stops will have 6 or more students. The bus shelters will be fixed and maintained through the school year, and at the end of the school year, these bus shelters will be transported and stored for the beginning of next year.
And as the new school approaches, we hope to have local bus drivers and student volunteers to help us transport and install the bus shelters. Both walls will be unloaded and staked into the ground. After we install the tubing, the fabric will drip over it and install in place with screws.
We plan on putting these shelters up in late summer, right before school starts, and taking them down in early summer, right whenever school ends. And we plan on putting these bus stops at all the major stops throughout the district.
For the materials that this bus shelter is going to be made out of, we're going to use galvanized steel, since that is corrosion resistant, nylon fabric for the roof, polycarbonate for the walls, and stainless steel for the poles.
And as you see on the picture here is the half-scale prototype we have made. The material we use are things like PVC pipe, which is just give us an understanding how this overall structure is going to work.
For a budget, again, same materials used in our material list. We have galvanized pipe, which is going to cost $106 in total for all the pipes that we're going to be using. For our nylon fabric, we can get that from Hobby Lobby, and the estimated price is $64. And then we also have our polycarbonate twin wall, and we're going to be buying one piece that gets cut in half, and in total that'll be $145.
And these are the pricing that we find for a retail store. So we're actually hoping that Altec help us find better stores for a probably more cheaper price on the same exact material.
Now the pros and cons. The pros of our suggested structure, one of them would be we specifically chose weather-resistant materials such as waterproof nylon. So things like rain, hail, wind, other different types of weather would be, our students would be defended from these types of weather. Another pro we have listed up there is the structures would be portable and inexpensive. So repairs could be made on the fly. If bus stops were to change, we could just move them around, and they'd be easy to set up and tear down. And the final pro we have listed is at the bottom of our shelters. We have vent-like structures, which would prevent flooding when it rains and would stop wind from uplifting and carrying said shelter away.
For the cons of our bus shelter, one of them is vandalism, which could be a huge risk to our bus shelter. Another one is city property and other environmental obstacles, such as utilities, trees, and others. For the final one is nylon might be susceptible to user abuses. that might break it.
And the picture down here is we actually going outside to explore all the bus locations to see any obstacle or issue that we might need to consider.
So we have communicated with city officials about the permits and regulations that we need to put these bus shelters down. And we have found that these temporary structures need to be 36 inches away from fire hydrants and 12 inches away from any utilities and street lamps. And we've also learned that the frost line in Kentucky is 10 inches deep, which means our stakes, which won't go below that, won't interfere with any of the utility lines underground.
We have also been in contact with the bus garage, and they have provided us with a list of all the stops throughout Hardin County. We analyzed through all the data, and we found that there are 26 stops with 6 or more people in John Hardin and Bluegrass, and there are 251 stops with 6 or more people throughout all of Hardin County.
Our general implementation timeline, we intend to actually procure and locate intend to procure our materials to actually build the shelters within January while locating where we'd be placing the shelters. Throughout February, we'll actually begin assembling the shelters, putting them together, and then placing them where they need to be towards late February and early March. Once we start doing that, throughout the rest of the year, we'll be maintaining them, making sure they stay where they are, making sure they actually work. And at the beginning of May, when students are actually being let out of school, is when we will be putting them up in storage.
And after, in summary, we believe that our final product will be very beneficial and practical for the communities. And we're also hoping that we could expand it just beyond school use for things like school events, which is for general becoming shelters. And I hope that we could expand this to other schools too. And this is our presentation. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
One quick question, did you consider subdivision rules, homeowner association rules, and your research?
Could you elaborate?
So, for example, some subdivisions have rules on what can be placed in front yard, for example, or in common areas. Is that something like that?
Yeah, so in the email, we have found that certain easements allow for the placement of these structures on other property, as long as they are a certain distance away from all the utilities and the sidewalk.
Is there a reason this looks in the picture, what I was assuming it was more of a stand-up, but it looks like it's when you go in and sit in this unit? Is that correct, or is it?
This is actually a half-scale model of our product. Our real bus shelter is going to be 6 foot by 6 foot by 10 foot, and the 10 foot is scalable, so you could fit anywhere between 6 to potentially 12 people.
So you can't stand in the
Yes.
finished product? Okay.
Was there any consideration given when research on offsetting cost with advertising on the panels on each side?
No, we have not taken that.
Have you spoken to Public Works about, thinking about mowing around these and things like that would maybe reduce some of their time doing their daily jobs?
So the stakes on our ground, we were able to they're able to be lifted up fairly easily, so you could easily mow under them and around them without much issue.
I'd also like to add on to that, these stakes, we can actually change the height that they're on the ground, so they can actually be a height where homeowners can even mow these, not even city officials. So if someone wanted to go out their way, maybe spend a little extra time mowing city property, you can do that as well. It's very easy to mow around.
How much time does it take to construct one?
Around 5 minutes, potentially less. So and that's us students doing it. So if you can imagine a trained volunteer doing that, they can lay these things out really, really quickly. I can actually explain how this comes apart. So we have a PVC pipe in the middle, which is going to take out that steel to final model. You can pull those pipes out, and the entire shelter just comes down to 2 flat plates. So you can change the structure that's from here to, let's say that podium, sorry.
So 9 months out of the year, you plan to have these out there with 3 down. Is there any reason you decided to go with 9 as opposed to 12 and make them a bit more durable?
So the time we're gonna place those out is actually during our school time. So planning on to have them out during school time and store them after the school ends. So after summer break, we will hope to find some student volunteers to place them out again.
So the primary impact is going to be urban students, not rural students, correct?
And we're hoping on to expand this furthermore, maybe even throughout the state.
You mentioned the research on the number of stops that were 6 or more students, and I'm sure it's there in the chart, but how many total students does that then impact?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but it did say in the chart. There was one stop that I specifically remember that had like around, I don't remember, like above 10 people, which our shelter should fit them.
To add on that, my stop personally, the Arlington apartment stop, has more than 20 people from the highest line middle school.
All right, we have time for one more question. Any other questions? All right, great job. Well, they set the bar pretty high, I believe. Fantastic job. I would ask one other thing that I should have alluded to when I was starting this. Make sure that as you're speaking, speak into the microphone best you can. I want to make sure that everybody in the room can hear. We are in a pretty large room and well dispersed, so everybody needs to be able to engage in hearing what's going on, okay? All right, with that, I'm going to introduce the next team. So this team is out of North Hardin. They're going to be presenting today on hydroponic systems. This team is made up of 2 individuals, Caden Hayes and Mason Killian. Come on up.
Welcome everybody. I'm Mason. This is Caleb.
Speak into the mic.
We will be presenting about our hydroponic system and basically just going over what hydroponics is and everything else.
So what we're going to do with the 10K is build a hydroponic system so that we can have fresh food at the school, because the school lunch is kind of crappy, I'm not going to lie. But so with this money we could build a 4-unit hydroponic system, and it could grow like tomatoes, lettuce, cucumbers, and strawberries. There's going to be like 4 units, and they're going to feed school, and we could sell some of the plants so that we could maintain the hydroponics unit and make sure that we could use it more than just once.
So basically what hydroponics is the process of using plants without like soil. It's just basically recirculating the water. And hydroponics is easier to maintain, and it takes less time to grow plants than like traditional planting would be. You could use other things such as gravel or perlite, and that is pretty much, it's cheaper than like normal garden soil is. So basically, again, like the maintaining is easier, and it's just a system of recirculating.
The problem that could happen is we could lose power and it'll malfunction, which has a downtime where the plants will wilt and die, then we'd be screwed. So with the access money of after building the hydroponic system, we could use that money to maintain the hydroponic system to make sure this wouldn't happen.
So our plan for this is to make carts that we could take to our shop, our greenhouse, or into the cafeteria for the access to lunch ladies, so they can take the fresh plants and put them into our lunch meals. And if we needed to take them to events, we could also just have that readily available so that we could present it if we needed to. And so our list of materials ranges anywhere from 2-inch PVC pipe to tees and corner pieces so that we can connect it, things to put the plants in. We have little cups that we can put the plants in, and we also have carts made out of sheet metal and corner metal, like steel. And we have miscellaneous stuff, just like extension cords, bolts, zip ties, paint hinges, and in total this will bring us about to $7,500, and excess money will go to seeds, just maintenance and everything else that we would need to maintain this. Are there any questions?
Exactly what types of plants would you be growing?
We can grow tomatoes, strawberries, tomatoes, and cucumbers, anything on a small scale, because if we try to grow watermelons, that wouldn't work because of how small the system is.
Are there any state or federal guidelines with school lunches that would prevent you from being able to implement this?
So all the foods that we would create or not create, but plant, those are all daily meals that we already have. So I'm pretty sure it's not a problem.
But have you verified that or checked to see if it can be implemented?
No, we do not.
Is there a biology club or an FFA or something at your school that could assist and help?
So we have FFA and a shop class to where we can help build the stuff, and FFA can come in for an agriculture project if they needed to, and help us with that.
How many of these racks were you guys doing?
We're planning on doing 4 or 5.
What kind of yield do you get off each one?
Please, I didn't hear you.
How much yield would you get? How much would one of those particular carts feed?
One cart will feed around 500 to 700 people.
You said that someone could do the material. Any estimate on how many people this would impact?
So this is basically just for our school, but if we needed to take it anywhere else, sell it to, or not really sell it, donate to homeless shelters and all that, we can give them some of the food to help out with the homeless community.
You mentioned your lack of taste for school lunch. Have you guys talked to students? Is this kind of fresh food what they're looking for?
Yeah, a lot of my friends that I know, they don't really like the school lunch. It's kind of it's super watery and it's not good. But with this, it'll be more fresh and it'll be right next to the school, so they could just grab there. It'll be fresh, easier to use, and it tastes pretty good.
Would you plan on including fresh herbs and that sort of thing to help the cafeteria cooks that they could implement into the meals?
So with herbs and stuff, we can plant spinach, basil, oregano, anything that we can put in the food to help out the taste.
It's a great idea for some fresh food. What's the sustainability of this? What are you all putting into place to make sure this happens? If you put it in place that 3 years, 4 years from now, it's still going.
So with our project, we plan to keep it maintained, and us out with that so that we don't have to just do it by ourselves. And we could also have the FFA do stuff with us.
Got time for one more question.
Do you have a working prototype?
We have not made one because we don't have the resources for it right now.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, the next group that will be presenting to us today is from Elizabethtown Independent Schools. Today, they're going to be presenting on the Winter Smith Trail Cleanup and Improvements. This team's made up of Ethan Ploitz, Emily Denham, Connor Smith, and Charles Tompkins. Please welcome them to the podium. Team of two?
Yep.
Very good.
All right, good morning, I'm Ethan Wallace,
I'm Connor Smith.
and unfortunately our teammate Emily Dunham couldn't be here today because she was in an ATV accident. We're Team Panda Pride from Elizabethtown High School, working to clean up the Winter Smith trails. All right, so our original plan for the Altec Challenge was to improve the Veterans Park in Elizabethtown by building bridges over the creek crossings and finding out some of the trails in the area. However, after conducting further research, we realized that the creek we wanted to build bridges over was a blue line stream. This means we can't build bridges or anything else within 30 feet of the park or the creek. And so instead, we looked towards other trails that we ran on during the cross-country season, and we found that the Winter Smith trails were in very poor condition and needed cleaning.
The problem with the Winter Smith trails is that the trails are covered in leaves, and trees and brush on the right side of the trail are overgrowing into the trail and make it very annoying to run through. And the other side of the bridge is covered in graffiti that makes the park feel very unsafe and just looks bad. So,
in order to solve this issue, we will first start by collecting all the leaves and all the trash on the ground. We will then cut down some of the smaller trees alongside the creek, so that we'll have a better view of the creek, and so that the branches won't be like hitting the face while you're running. We'll also plan to add picnic benches and tables to different areas of the park. These are the two models we selected because they're made of longer lasting materials, so they won't need maintenance in the long run. Also, we'll paint over the graffiti on the other side of the bridge. And then to give the park a more vibrant atmosphere, we'll add flowers and different plants to different areas of the trail. For example, in this area, we'll cut back some of the honeysuckle, which has a negative impact on the environment because it outcompetes other plants for sunlight and nutrients in the soil. We'll then plant native plants, including hosta flowers, coral bells, and ferns, because to give the park a more vibrant atmosphere. And we chose these flowers because they're perennials, which means they'll come back every year and we won't have to add new flowers. As you can tell, our project is mainly geared towards the environmental science aspect of STEM. As you can see here, the roundabout from the E-Town downtown area just south is where the trails begin, and they run parallel to the railroad tracks all the way down to the Elizabethtown Community Center. And we'll just scatter flower beds, benches, and picnic tables in different areas along the park. For this project, we met up with Randall Pauley, who's the head of trail maintenance in Elizabethtown, and we walked the trails with him and discussed how we go about cleaning up the trails, and he gave us a few suggestions about some of the flowers we would add. We then met with Hugo Davis from Bluegrass Donor Center to discuss which plants would be best to add to the area, as well as ask him a few questions about the native plant species and how they affect the environment. Then we spoke with Mayor Gregory and his assistant Amy and Min to discuss our plans, and they were on board with our ideas. Lastly, we spoke with Matt Deneen, who's the city councilman here in town, as well as a member of Green Space, and he's agreed to help get a group of Green Space volunteers on board for our project.
one of the big things we had to overcome was the labor of this project, and for that, Green Space has agreed to our partners Green Space have agreed to help clean up the park and clean up and help paint over the bridge. And for our timeline, we wanted to start this project at May, at the beginning of May, and be finished by the end of the month. And
For our budget, $2,500 will go to flowers, which will be purchased from the Bluegrass Gardening Center. We'll buy 4 benches totaling $2,400 and another 4 picnic tables for $3,400. And both these will be bought and installed by Top Tree Products. We'll then spend $200 on painting tools from Home Depot. This will leave us with around $1,500 to cover for any unforeseen issues that may arise in the future. Everything else for this project will be free.
And for the long-term sustainability of the project, Green Space and the Parks and Rec Department have agreed to help sustain the park over the years that will forecome by making sure the plants are watered and the bridge, if it does get painted, get more graffiti on, they'll make sure that it will be painted over and that the creek bed will be.
In conclusion, with the revitalization of the downtown Elizabeth area, new shops, stores are attracting more people to the area who will all benefit from the improvements of these trails. Any questions?
So what is the number of people that you expect this to impact?
We don't have a certain number, but the revitalization of the downtown area is bringing in a lot more people, as well as cross-country teams from Elizabethtown and other schools. I'm a part of the cross-country team, and we all run on these trails, but we haven't been able to in the past years because of the conditions they're in.
So who would be responsible for the maintenance? Would it go to city employees?
Green Space, we talk to them, and they'll like water the plants and weed the plants and just clean it up, as well as the Parks and Rec Department. We spoke to a lot of people in that department, and they've agreed to help maintain it over the long run.
Is there an interest among the cross-country team helping with labor?
The cross-country team will probably get them involved. We also mentioned the environmental club from the school will help out, and Green Space, and a few other people who might want to help.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you. I tell you, every time I do this, I am always excited about the opportunities that we see in our youth. And that's really one of the things that we enjoy about this, is really growing the youth to be prepared for the workforce. I know that when I was a kid and I was their age, getting in front of a group like this and communicating to this panel and talking in front of these judges would have scared me to death. So fantastic job to everybody so far. With that, we're going to have 2 more groups, and then we're going to take a break. But before we do that, we're going to have a group from John Harden come and present to us today on the school supply vending machine. This team is made up of Maddox Chesser, Verrazano Groy, Zach Anders, and Aiden Wallace. Please welcome them to the podium.
Hi, my name is Aiden Wallace. This is Maddox Chesser. This is Anna Sergoy. And then this is Zach Anders. And this is the school supply vending machine.
So the issue we have decided to address is that there are many students who feel like they cannot ask for help, and this can apply to school supplies.
So there are some students who do not have the adequate school supplies to meet their educational needs. And there's also another aspect of this issue is that there are some students whose parents work often, so they're not able to acquire the supplies needed for their students' projects last minute. And also so the solution we have devised to combat this issue is that we would find an already existing traditional vending machine and refurbish it so that it would be able to provide school supplies such as journals, notebooks, pencils, and erasers. But there would also be more advanced items such as calculators that would be at a minimal cost, an affordable price. And to reinforce the idea that this could be done anonymously in order to deter embarrassment, this vending machine would be located in an area in the school that is somewhat away from the happenings of all the commotion of school. That way, the students can receive these supplies in an anonymous manner and so as to deter from embarrassment.
We plan on implementing our idea by using our school ID card system. This is to prevent people from taking advantage of the free items we do have in our machine. We also have this so we can know who uses what items, because it is important to know what items are needed in the school supply vending machine. The items throughout the year will be changed based on events or seasonal things, such as like Christmas notebooks, a lot of Christmas stuff, and holiday notebooks, a lot of holiday stuff. We also plan on expanding this to other schools and school districts to help students get their supplies wherever they need throughout the year. Some pros would be it allows for anonymous use, so students don't feel embarrassed or ashamed to use this machine. It's easy to access at school, so every student will know where to go to get this. It's cheap and or free for the supplies, so the supplies that do cost money are at a reasonable price, and they can be expanded to other schools. Some cons that happen are it's prone to vandalism, so people can destroy or vandalize our machines. There's prone to theft, so people can steal the items that do cost money, and items can get stuck in the machine, and the machine won't accept their money.
For the longevity of our vending machine, we'll be adding supplies every so often. This will make it so we'll be able to keep our vending machine alive and active. You might be wondering how we're going to afford this, but with the help of our youth service coordinator, Ms. Snow, and donations, we'll be able to keep this alive and have enough money to sustain it. And to repair it, we'll be using the EC3 welding team if we need stuff with structural. And if it's just normal everyday bugs, we'll be able to fix that because we'll learn how to do it. However, if it's a big enough issue, we're going to need to call a vending machine repairman. But we'll have enough money saved up from the donations and our cheaper products. And here at John Hardin, we treat our special needs family as a family, and we're going to use them to stock it. So this will help them have life skills and develop things like that. For our design materials, we'll be using an old vending machine. This will be the basis of our project and will be around $800 to $2,000. The price of the stocking of the vending will be about $200 to $300 per month. This will be what we use to stock, and the individual vending machine parts will be $50 to $500, and our galvanized steel will be 20 cents to 50 cents per pound, and plexiglass will be 10 to 30 per pound. We'll be using our plexiglass for the barrier between the buyer and the product. We'll be using the galvanized steel for the support of the vending machine, and we'll be using the individual parts to replace old parts. And we'll be using all that to replace the old vending machine so we make it new and able to last more than a year or two.
So this is our implementation timeline, which is based on a Gantt chart, and it highlights what each individual will be actually doing for the actual implementation process. The areas that we will be focusing on include ordering the parts, assembling the machine, correctly coding it, and sustainability. So in conclusion, the idea that we came up with is we really believe will be a reliable resource necessary supplies needed for their schoolwork. While we would maintain the machine sustainability through the higher quality supplies being made available for a nominal fee and other supplies being shared with all students. And overall, we strongly believe that this invention will be a helpful tool in enhancing every student's endeavors.
Great presentation. Seems like you all really thought this through. I love office supplies, so I encourage you guys to use your hand. Or ask for donations. But on the vending side of this, have you looked at, like a pen or pencil? How are you going to dispense these as single units?
Yes, we have. The type of vending machine we're going to be using will be able to hold these and dispense these along with folders and things like that, so that won't be an issue.
So the anonymous part was a nice part of this. However, you're also tracking the students that utilize it by their ID cards. Who gets that information that sees these students that are utilizing it? That could be just as damaging if that got out as not having an anonymous at all. So any thoughts into that?
This is probably going to be for the principal and the staff of the building. It's basically just for us to know who needs what and if it's being abused.
The Family Resource Centers, I believe, have many of these items they can give out for free and things like that. So how does this work in conjunction with the Family Resource Center?
So we actually talked to Ms. Snow, our Service Resource Center, and she said she'd be able to get the supplies for a lot cheaper than we would. So basically, we're just going to be using a lot of those supplies that she can get for that, and along with some we get that maybe she can't get. So that won't be an issue.
How will this project be sustained once you all graduate?
We'll have other students we may choose, or other students that maybe like volunteer. We could even maybe make a club for it, just to sustain this. So there'll be multiple options.
How many vending machines are being planned?
So we're going to start with John Hardin, but we plan to go to all of the high schools in Hardin County before like middle schools and elementary schools, but if we can, really every school in Hardin County.
Because we feel that high schoolers often need more school supplies, so we would first and foremost focus on John Hardin. And if that were to be successful, then we would try our best to expand it to other schools in the district.
Any other questions? Great job, Brad. All right, we're doing good on time. So with that, we're going to have one more group present. This group is from Elizabethtown Independent Schools. The presentation title is The Boat Boys. This group is made up of Carter Peace, Conley Crosno, Sage Garris, and Tate Wooten. Please join us to the podium.
We like show and tell.
As was said, we're actually from LaRue County. We travel to Elizabethtown every day for the engineering class. My name is Sage Garris.
I'm Tate Wooten.
I'm Conley Crosno, and we are the Boat Boys. The problem we're looking to solve here today is top water pollution in Kentucky's lakes and ponds, such as Freeman, McDougal, and Salem.
This is a major issue because this negatively impacts the wildlife and agriculture inside the environment. We are mainly looking to target man-made pollutions such as cans, bottles, and plastic bags, and all of these sorts of things right now for two reasons. First of all, it's just ugly. You don't ever want to see this inside your ecosystem at all. It's just plain disgusting. Second of all, as I stated earlier, it negatively impacts the wildlife and agriculture inside the environment, which has a very negative impact on our ecosystem as a whole. We would also like to further our project later on towards more natural pollutions, such as algae blooms that come from pesticides and fertilizers. As you can see here, 2.6% of the world's water is freshwater. And here in Elizabethtown, Freeman Lake is what gives most of the fresh water to the community.
So what is our solution? We've thought of this idea. This is an autonomous boat that will go around and clean up our local lakes and ponds. It'll act kind of like a Roomba, which we're all familiar with, that'll kind of bounce around, and when it hits an obstacle, turn around and keep going. It'll have a conveyor belt up front, which you can see here for the judges. That's the front end of the boat. It will pull in the trash. It'll have a waste collection bin with a mesh bottom for adequate drainage. It'll have solar panels to recharge and a low water contact design to make sure our boat doesn't get hung up. It'll have an auto docking feature and will be fully autonomous, like I said. We'll do this through the RD Pilot software, which we'll do ourselves to save in the software development phases of our boat. Here's our prototype. This is the same thing you guys are holding. It has 2 large rollers and 2 small rollers. The large rollers being in the back and the small rollers being up front so that the conveyor belt is angled in the water. This, like I said, is just the front end of the boat. To give you an idea what the back end will look like, it'll just be the 2 pontoons. It'll have a propeller for air propulsion so that nothing is in the water besides the pontoons and the front end of the conveyor, and it'll hold all the batteries, solar panels, and electronics.
So for research, we have talked to Matt Deneen. He is part of City Council and a member of Green Space. We've talked to Mayor Gregory, Amy Inman, Altec engineers, and we have also called Freeman Lake Sports Park, and they have all given us positive feedback on our project. As of right now, there is no autonomous boat like the one we're trying to create. But however, there is a much larger one, man-operated, used for oceans and canals.
Like Tate was saying, we talked to Mayor Gregory and called Freeman Lake Park. They both said that there is an application process to get something like this approved for use, but it would be no issue because this is a real problem. Full scale, we'd like the boat to be about the width of one of these desks. So it would be pretty large and be able to pick up around 60 pounds of trash. So like I was saying, the point of this is to clean up our lakes and ponds around here. We'll start with Freeman Lake, 1 unit, and a unit being just the boat. If we ever decide to expand, we can build others or just move this single boat to different lakes and ponds. Maintenance will need to be done when it's full. Like I said, it'll hold around 60 pounds of trash. This will be weekly or daily depending on how much trash there really is in said lake, and a worker or volunteer will do this. Again, like Tate said, we called Freeman Lake Park, and they said that there was volunteers and workers who regularly clean up trails and the lake itself that can do this for us. The auto docking feature will bring it back to a set point for the worker volunteer to empty.
Here's our cost breakdown. We have the budget of $10,000, but we're only looking to spend $7,000 and have a surplus of $3,000, just in case there's any inflammation in the manufacturing or materials of the boat. As you can see, the majority of the cost comes from the manufacturing of the boat and the pontoons and software for the GPS tracker that will help make the boat fully autonomous.
By doing this, this is helping the community by keeping our local lakes and ponds trash-free.
Our project is very eco-friendly by using the sun's energy and solar panels to fully make the boat operable. And also the DC motors that we're going to be using are useful for clean energy in the boat. So in conclusion, this is a green solution.
Do you research disposal of the algae blooms, which are forest toxic?
We have not, but I feel like this would be an easy thing to get rid of. The algae would be an easy thing to get rid of.
Can you talk a little bit about tactically how the conveyor works to capture the debris?
Yeah, the conveyor belt will have ribs on it. Like I said, it'll be an angle in the water. It'll have two kind of arms to guide the trash in, and it'll just bring it to that waste collection bin I was talking about to drain and be stored.
On your waste collection bin, you've got a time-based, well, if it fills up for, what if, like a really heavy day, it fills up?
It's not time-based. It'll have a limit switch
Okay.
that it'll detect up to 60 pounds. When it hits 60 pounds, it'll go back to its designated area.
So how large of an item could it actually pick up? I mean, would it get like the plastic bottles that you showed?
Yes, easily. That's just the prototype. Like I said, the real thing, the conveyor belt part, will be around 6 foot in width.
What type of motor are you gonna have running this?
They'll all be brushless. We already have our materials sourced through websites.
Talk a little bit about the software that you guys have identified.
It's ArduPilot. It's used a lot in hobbyists like RC and airplanes, cars. It's open source. It can be programmed any way you want it. It works with a flight controller, they call it, which we're going to purchase. And this can be done through a laptop. Once it's done, you can get rid of the laptop, close it all, and click start, and it'll just go for it.
And the maintenance, would that, and you may have addressed that, who's handling the maintenance, but that type of system, not everybody knows or volunteers, who would kind of maintain that and make sure that the boat's operating properly?
We've thought about implementing a notification when the boat returns to its home point, and this will alert a, like I said, worker or volunteer to come, and it shouldn't be hard to empty the boat. It'll just be, like I said, a bin that needs to be taken out.
What about GPS issues or boat issues, not necessarily the maintenance of cleaning up the trash?
Oh,
so
that will be all done by us. If there's a problem, we should be able to fix it.
How do you recall the boat if you need to do something to it? Can you automatically do
Yeah,
that?
we can get on and take manual override and bring it to us.
Obviously, you'll have to have cellular connectivity. Did you look at the cost of that?
It is cellular, but it doesn't go through a phone. It's a direct connection between this flight software and a GPS. So there should be no problem. There shouldn't be any loss of signal ever.
Have you thought about how the boat will be transported from lake to lake?
It shouldn't be very heavy. The pontoons will be able to be removed, the front end of the boat will be able to be removed, and it should break down pretty easily, fit in the back of a pickup truck.
Got time for one more question.
Is there an application here, is it exclusively the lakes and ponds, or is there an application here that could work on creeks and or rivers?
The only problem with that is the current in creeks and rivers, just because this won't be very powerful because it doesn't need to move fast. It can work 24/7. When it runs out of energy, it can sit, recharge, and then keep going. I'm sure that later, if this is very successful, we could probably think of something for creeks and ponds, creeks and rivers. But yeah, we haven't thought about that yet.
Very good.
You know, I tell you what, up to this point, I've just been very impressed with the students, the presentations, the thought. You know, a lot of people don't know this necessarily about Altec, but we're an engineer-to-order facility. We're an engineer-to-order company. And so when we make those bucket trucks, when we have those trucks coming in the plant, every one of them's different. A lot of people don't know we have over 100 engineers just at the Elizabethtown facility. Let that sink in for a minute. 100 engineers. You know, a lot of people think about manufacturing, they think about sitting out on the shop floor, they think about a conveyor line, they think about widgets. We don't do that. We custom order every truck. And so when I see the innovations and I see the thoughts and I see the creative thinking, it just excites me. It excites me for our community because we at Altec, that's what we're focused on. We're focused on that creative energy. We're focused on that entrepreneurial spirit. That's what makes us who we are. And so just seeing this just reinvigorates the fact that we've got a strong community, strong school system, and really strong up-and-coming leaders. Great job so far. All right, let's go ahead and get started again. So, this next group is also from Elizabethtown Independent Schools. The name of their presentation is the Power Bench. This group is made up of Sarah Hansen, Caitlin Johnson, Zainab Mobiania, Emma Musgrave, Emma Self, and Margaret Ford. Please welcome them to the podium.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Zainab Melania. I'm Liz Hansen. I'm Maggie Ford. I'm Emma Musgrave. I'm Emma Self.
And I'm Caitlin Johnson.
And we are the engineering girls from Elizabethtown High School, and our product is the Power Bench.
The problem we chose to address was the overuse of limited resources in our community. Coal generates about 70% of Kentucky electricity, with Kentucky being one of the top 5 states to generate the most electricity using coal. Using renewable energy instead can help reduce the use of coal, which is also one of the largest sources of carbon dioxide emissions in the United States.
To combat with that issue, we've decided to create a sustainable way to generate renewable energy that is safe and easy to use. Our solution uses something called a pedal generator, which when you're using it can generate kinetic energy that can be stored inside of the same generator. This energy is then converted into electricity, which can be used to charge various devices through ports that are going to be connected to the generator. Now, our generators are going to be connected to picnic tables, which means that people can work and pedal at the same time while they're using it. 6 picnic tables will be placed around Freeman Lake with 2 sets of generators at each table so multiple people can use it at the same time. Our solution combats the use of coal and other limited resources in Kentucky and allows people to generate the energy for their own personal use.
Like she said, we're going to put 6 picnic tables at Freeman Lake Park, and each red dot on the map represents a place where we're going to put one. So this is on the side with the rows and the tennis courts and the main office building because we decided that this would be easier for everyone instead of on the trails. So 3 of the tables are going to be put under 3 different pavilions. This way, if someone wasn't under one and it started to rain, or if it was a really hot day and someone wanted shade, they could go under there and continue to work. Then City Councilman Matt Deneen suggested that we place the other 3 along the newly paved concrete path for runners and walkers who needed a quick charge before they continued going, or if someone wanted to be more secluded when they work or have a better view of the lake. And then we also evenly spread them out so that a person wouldn't have to go from one side to the other to be able to access one.
Our product has a multitude of benefits that we have listed up here for you all. The first one I want to talk about is productivity. Our solution increases productivity throughout the community. We believe that the better conditions that you are working in, the more you are likely to accomplish. Our product is also work efficient, as it allows you to get your work done while creating and utilizing your own renewable energy. Something that was really important to us when creating our product was having a universal design. We wanted our product to be accessible to everyone. To accomplish this, we spoke to Mayor Gregory and Amy Inman, and they said to make our product ADA accessible. If you look at the model that we handed you at the beginning of the presentation, you can see that there is a slide-out panel on either side of the table. This slide-out panel serves as a more easily accessible workspace for wheelchair users. While we acknowledge that a majority of wheelchair users will not be able to pedal and make their own energy, our product does store energy from previous users. The panels serve as a more easily accessible workspace for them, even though they cannot create their own energy.
The pedal generators that we're going to be using have power outlets that we will connect power strips to that can directly charge all electronic devices. All of the outlets involved are GFCI protected, and there is free Wi-Fi available throughout Freeman Lake Park that everyone will have access to. Our product is also eco-friendly as it allows users to produce and use their own green energy rather than use energy from non-renewable resources. The final benefit is the sustainability of our solution. We wanted something that would last for years after we all graduated, and the biggest obstacle to overcome in order to achieve this was the weather. Because rain would be harmful to the power outlets, we will be purchasing weather-resistant covers to place over the outlets. To combat harsh weather, we spoke with 2 Altec engineers who suggested we make our tables out of Trex board. Trex board is a composite material that is much sturdier than wood and will require less maintenance over time. Finally, when speaking with Mayor Gregory, he mentioned how easy it would be to maintain these benches through regular inspections at the park.
Here's a look at our budget plan. Our largest component will be our Trex board composite material because we are constructing those ourselves. And we're using this, like Liz said, because it's more upfront, but it'll save us more in the long time because wood through weather would swell and we would have to continuously refinish our benches. Our next largest component is our K-Tor power box, and that is our pedal generators. We will need 12 of those because we are placing 2 at each picnic bench as is displayed in the model. We also left enough for our extensions that will be needed for our ADA, and that is also the hinges and slide out component as well. And we also have left enough for assembly parts such as decking screws and the pedals itself, which left us with just under $2,000 for design process modifications, maintenance over the years, and even marketing budget. So in total, we have about $8,328.11, and sales tax is included in all of our products, so the budget is accurate.
As mentioned earlier, we presented our idea to Mayor Gregory, Amy Inman, and City Councilman Matt Denny. They were all very enthusiastic about the possibility of having our idea in Freeman Lake, and they mentioned how feasible it would be to expand to other parks or public spaces in the future. We believe that if we are able to implement our solution, then it will serve as a stepping stone towards community acceptance of renewable resources. We also hope to encourage more small-scale projects like ours so that over time, a more long-lasting impact will occur. Thank you.
How will you build and deploy these?
We have a mechanical engineering class at our school that will partake in the construction, and we plan to start that in the next semester.
And then getting them on site, how will you go about that?
So they'll fit really easily in the back of a pickup truck, so we have people around us who have pickup trucks that we're willing to use.
And these, the units, the pedaling units, those are already being manufactured, used in other ways, and you're just implementing it into
Yes, yes, sir.
okay.
Why did you choose the lake as opposed to just maybe having them at your school?
Well, at the lake, it's easier to use and it has a multitude more benefits because you're able to be outside and get that vitamin D level and have a little bit of fresh air as well as productivity with doing your work. So a lot of people are torn between the idea, should I stay inside and do my work or homework, or should I go outside and just take a break. But this way you can do both.
Is there a noise factor with the generators at all?
No, sir, there should not be a problem with noise factor.
And have you guys considered other applications? Because it stands out to me that typically there's not power available when you're at a picnic table. Have you thought about other applications where not only is it a renewable power, but it makes access to electricity available where it's not normally? Any other thoughts on that?
Most of the electricity would come from the actual pedal generators. I don't know if there's a way to get that from anywhere else at the actual picnic table.
And there's not a large amount of energy being created to where like you could power like a room or something. So it's very much just like you could charge your devices while working, and there's not a large amount.
Right. So my question, other applications for where that might work in addition to picnic tables?
There definitely would be, but our idea was mainly to have it with the picnic table. That's what our focus was.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. I think I can handle sitting in my office at the picnic table. That'd be all right with me. All right, next group that's going to join us today is from John Harden. This group, their presentation title is Aqua Food. The team is made up by Addison Cheney, Maya Ferguson, Dawson Hall, Hayden Givenden, Benjamin Udegroff, Michaela Diaz, Anna Lloyd, and Stephen Hayes. Please welcome them to the podium.
Good morning, my name is Braden Hall, and I proudly present to you the John Harden FFA Altec Innovation Team.
In 29 years, I will be 43 years old. More than likely, I will be married, have kids, and be in the middle of my selected career. It'll also be the year I experience a life-changing event unlike the model has ever seen. And the scary thing is, we even know it's coming. 2050 is the year all projections point to our population outpacing our agricultural output. We will run out of food. Now, we're not just talking about our current food issues of socioeconomic factors, transportation issues, or healthy option versus unhealthy convenience. We are talking about food availability for everyone and anyone, period. This will not be a poor versus rich problem, or a young versus old issue, or where you're located on a map. This will be a humanity problem. A problem that will not only affect our community, but every single person in the world.
The silver lining, we know it is coming. So now it is up to my generation to find a solution so that we will never know what that world will look like. Here's how I plan on doing it.
This is our problem. Food insecurity is more of a dire issue than we may already realize, not to mention what's on our horizon. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, Feeding America and Hardin County Schools, 29,000 Hardin County citizens are food insecure. 22,000 of these are Hardin County adults, and the other 7,000 are our own Hardin County students. 52% of all Hardin County students qualify for free or reduced lunch. Our belief is that nobody should go hungry. And our solution is to educate the new generation and encourage them to find new and better solutions.
First, let me explain to you our current solution. The purpose of the Aquafood STEM Lab is to provide students with research opportunities to find sustainable solutions to food insecurity. It is also utilized to improve our community's ag literacy by providing lettuce to our cafeteria. It is also designed to give students experience in marketing, problem solving, teamwork, and communication skills. Students are responsible for handling the day-to-day operations of plant growth, such as planting, harvesting, checking nutrients, and educating fellow students. We've established a working professional partnership with all these organizations. Partnerships will be a key to solving food insecurity, as this issue is not created by one entity. The solution will come from the partnership of many. We've been recognized by the Kentucky State Senate for our contribution to food insecurity. The mayor of Indianapolis and the governor of Indiana have asked to travel to Kentucky to view our lab so they can start implementing systems into their schools. We've also been noticed by the CEO of the National FFA organization.
Now here are some examples of our Aquafood Lab. In the right-hand side of the presentation, you can see our Volksgarten and shoebox systems used to conduct various experiments such as light duration, light spectrum, and pH levels, as well as our group being recognized by the State Senate in our efforts in combating food hunger. As well, in the bottom center, you can see our students in our NFT systems, and in the top left, our freshly harvested basil. The interesting thing about this particular crop was it was harvested within 30 days of seeding. And last, our Blue Lab Technology Monitor. This is where we watch for water temperature, pH levels, and nutrients. This will maximize our productivity and efficiency.
As Dawson stated, we've already been working for a current solution. Just having leafy greens cannot solve food insecurity alone. When having a nutritious meal, you need a source of protein. This is when having an aquaculture production unit improves our plan. This will provide us a good, clean source of protein, along with allowing us to conduct various experiments, like testing which is the most efficient way to produce food in a limited time period. Since aquaculture isn't like regular farming, you produce 10 times more in an entire year. This way, citizens of Hardin County will not have to go hungry any longer.
We understand that to solve such a problem on a global scale is going to take much more than one high school STEM lab. We know we can be the spark at the local level that can educate and leave an impact, which will then lead to conversation, which will then lead to action on a larger scale. When we spoke with Warm Blessings, they indicated that one of their greatest needs is a healthy protein source. As Addie said, leafy greens were a start, but they can't do it on their own. That's why these two aquaculture tanks will allow us to provide Warm Blessings with a healthy protein source, while at the same time allowing us to conduct research on how to produce fish in an urban setting for future growth. We have also been working with Creekside Elementary with plans to implement a system into their elementary schools, while expanding to other elementary and middle schools with a full curriculum as well.
And this will be our budget. Two of our aquaculture systems will be roughly $7,000, while our heaters and chillers, which we'll use to keep our water temperatures regulated, will cost around $360. Our Blue Lab monitoring systems will be around $680, and our dissolved oxygen monitors, which we'll use to keep our fish healthy and in check, will be around $372. The remaining money from all of this will be around $1,500. And this is our impact budget. 3,300 pounds of tilapia can be filleted into about 600 fillets. And those 600 fillets can cost around $10,000 at a Walmart. But we can produce this at around $1,100. And the cost difference between those two is $9,000. A one-time $10,000 investment will provide over 3,300 pounds of nutritious protein per year to those in need at a savings of over $9,000 per year. The first line of the FFA Creed states, "I believe in the future of agriculture, with a faith born, not of words, but of deeds." We are inspired by the meaning of those words. The time to talk is over. It is now time to take action, and we are ready. We are ready to take that action to preserve our future and the future generations that follow us.
Thank you for your time and consideration. We will now leave you this line from the FFA Creed.
I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert an influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task.
I just want to say job very well done, professional, prepared. Your FFA sponsor has been so proud of you guys. So, you all do a great job representing your generation. You did a great job.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll second that. Very impressive. I was an FFA, an officer in my high school, and I can tell you guys, as Brian said, you have a very good sponsor who should be very proud of you today. I wish I could have come out of high school saying I did as well as you all, but so I'm impressed. I will ask this question. You mentioned in your packet operational procedures and checklists. How have you, I'm sure you've looked at health department regulations and so on for service and storage. How was that factored into your procedures?
Could you repeat that?
Sure. So health department regulations dictate how food is prepared, stored, distributed, and so on. How is that factored into your operational procedures?
I'll take that question. Our food will be, I'm sorry, excuse me. We grow lettuce in our cafeteria. That's part of our NFT system, and we give that lettuce to our they buy it from us. They buy our lettuce that we produce in our little NFT system, and they buy our lettuce. Then the way we will be handling these fish, we will euthanize them by ethically putting them to sleep in ice. We will fillet them. Our cafeteria will actually be teaching us how to fillet them so that we can learn and we can teach our other classmates in our agricultural class. We will fillet them. We will put them in a vacuum seal. We will vacuum seal them, put them in a cooler to be transported to Warm Blessings, which is a soup kitchen. So they'll give out last year they gave out about 14,000 meals, and we plan to be as successful as that.
So what's preventing this from happening other than the purchasing of the equipment? After that's done, is this something that will be implemented, or is there a longer timeline to get that done?
On to this question, whenever we start working on agriculture systems, we've already been implementing systems into our high school, so we already have our leafy greens, as we know. So now when we get this grant, we will put those systems into our high school, and then we will start going from there to provide fish to Warm Blessings.
And that'll happen relatively soon after equipment arrives? Okay.
I'm sure this has been implemented somewhere else. Have you all researched that to kind of see how that works?
Yes, Kentucky Fresh Harvest, we have a partnership with them, and they show us different things with fish and other lettuce.
Will Warm Blessings be your only recipient, or do you have other plans?
I'll take this question. Well, since Warm Blessings is more of a dire need for a protein source, they will be our first food bank we help. But if they are good with protein source after we help, we will get with Feeding America to find other food banks to implement.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Kenny, I don't know about you, but as a communications major out of Kentucky, I'm a little embarrassed about my ability to turn it down.
Yeah. I'm sitting here.
Okay. So the next team that's going to join us this afternoon is going to be out of North Hardin. The name of the presentation is Mobile Agricultural Lab. This group is made up of Abigail Key, Abigail Biddle, Ava Schaus, and Keisha Justice.
Marcia Justice.
I'm Ava Schaus.
I'm Abigail Little. And I'm Abigail Key, and we represent the North Hardin Ag Department, presenting to you the Mobile Agriculture Lab, growing the future of agriculture. Now, how many times have you heard a kid say that chocolate milk comes from a brown cow? Or when you ask them, where does your food come from? And they simply say, it comes from the grocery store, duh. Well, we believe that this disconnect provides evidence that kids do not understand how agriculture benefits their lives, how it even influences their lives, and how the food gets to their plate. To combat this disconnect, we are going to provide 13 elementary schools within the county with the Mobile Agriculture Lab that comes equipped with a curriculum that is centered around the sciences behind growing and developing plants and animals, using advanced agriculture technologies like aquaponics, like hydroponics, and even engineering new ways to sustain life within the mobile lab, and developing math concepts like ratios and how to transfer chemicals and stuff like that. Our idea derives from our analysis of that disconnect, which fuels our determination to educate younger generations so that they understand those benefits, so that they understand those influences, and so that they understand that chocolate milk doesn't just come from a brown cow, and that there are more steps behind how their food gets to their plate.
Our lab contains an aquaponics unit. How it works is that the fish fertilize the plants, and in return the plants clean the water. It does not require any harmful chemicals or fertilizers, and it's very important to educate the younger generations on other agricultural mediums and how they can be utilized.
Our mobile ag lab also contains a hydroponics unit. The purpose of this unit is to show a soilless environment where plants can grow all year round. The way the system functions is you place a seed in the bottom of a plastic cup, which is then placed in a tub of water where the plants will grow. This is beneficial to students not only as a hands-on learning experience, but also as a way to see more sustainable forms of farming.
Okay, our lab also has vermiculture, which is the idea of using worm castings, which is worm waste, to provide for a sustainable form of fertilizer. This teaches kids how to compost. So after they eat a banana, they can stick it in the dirt, and those worms compost it down to provide a fertilizer that is enriched with nutrients needed to develop plants and their growth. And this teaches them that it doesn't take chemicals to grow what they want to eat.
Within our mobile lab, there is also a poultry unit serving to teach students the origins of the food they consume. Within this unit, there is an incubator. The use of an incubator teaches early life stages and development, as well as health and hygiene. Once the eggs have hatched, they are free to roam the remainder of the poultry unit. There they are cared for by students, teaching responsibility and small animal care.
The curriculum, ag in the classroom. Teachers are our most important asset to the effectiveness of our mobile agriculture lab. This curriculum comes fully equipped with labs, assignments, lesson plans, even a website where kids can virtually tour agriculture on a much larger scale. This takes away the pressure from teachers having to make those assignments, having to make those labs, so that they can effectively and efficiently teach kids about agriculture to grow the future of ag. Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys.
By using our mobile agriculture lab, students will learn more sustainable forms of farming, how to take care of small animals, and more sustainable forms of fertilizer. Also, with our provided curriculum, teachers will be able to effectively use the unit in the classroom.
With strengths comes weaknesses, and our biggest weakness is the ag lab not being utilized within the classroom. Teachers not reaching out when they need help or maintenance done, and them not using the provided resources from local communities and from the high schools. This can be a very big weakness, as in order for our mobile lab to make an impact on the students, it must be utilized within the classroom. They must reach out when they need help, and everything that we give them they must use what is provided.
Some opportunities our lab can provide are a more compassionate and caring generation, valuable skills such as teamwork, responsibility, and communication, and can also encourage them to make healthier food choices, as well as even maybe pursuing a career in STEM.
Everything has its potential threats, including our mobile lab, such as the space necessary to store and operate. Preserving equipment and preventing malfunctions such as changing heating elements and water pumps and other general maintenance. The individual units also pose their own issues, such as plants not growing properly, plants not producing enough compost, and even the passing of fish and chicken.
In order to make one of these, it comes out to a total of $761.59. To accomplish our mission of implementing 13 of these within the county, it'll come out to $9,967 with $99.33 left of wiggle room for any extra expenses. If we were to be awarded the money, our plan is to gather all materials as soon as possible and have the first unit ready to go by early February. After that, the plan is to build one unit every week with the help of our construction classes and have all 13 units ready to go to all the elementary schools during the spring semester. As you can see, the need to educate about agriculture is very important. It teaches students healthy eating choices, educates them on where their food comes from, and makes an impact on their entire life. Thank you all for this opportunity to present our project. At this time, do you have any questions?
Do you have a potential or a specific grade level in mind?
This will be for K through 5, so all grade levels, and that is what our curriculum is centered around. So within the curriculum, it comes with assignments that are catered from kindergarten, first grade, all through 5th grade.
What's the cost each year to reset or reestablish the unit?
Are you talking about like maintenance-wise, or like the seeds, or?
Yeah, I think the process, the eggs, the fit, just kind of regenerating that, and what happens over the summer break when no one's around.
Okay, so actually, so the seeds that are coming from will come from the high schools, as we actually have an influx of seeds that we always get from the local communities, which will allow us to utilize those within the elementary school so that they don't have to go out of their way to provide the seeds and even the eggs. And with the chickens, once they are able and old enough when they don't have to live within there, they don't have to have the heat anymore, they can come back to the high school where we can raise them, and even then, the eggs that are fertilized within those chickens, we can give back to the elementary schools to put in their incubators. And the plants that they grow, all of the high schools, specifically North Hardin too, we have greenhouses where we sell the plants. So those plants that they grow can also come back to us where we can sell them. But as a long-term goal, we also want to implement the students learning how to give back to the community, selling those eggs, selling those plants. So, and once all the plants are gone, this can easily be stored within a classroom. And within a classroom, once it's all turned off and cleaned out.
Here's my questions on the chickens. So they grow pretty quick.
Yes.
So what do you do with them after they get to be a certain size, and then who cleans the cage up every day?
So that is, so the chickens, once they're old enough to not have to go in there, they're going to go back to the high schools where we are going to grow them. As I know North Hardin, we have a poultry unit, we have a chicken coop, and within the eggs that we fertilize are going to go back. So it's kind of self-sustaining, that keeps the cycle going. But also, them cleaning it teaches kids how to care for those animals. Letting them have that hands-on experience teaches them that I can grow my own food and self-sustain and be able to bring what I eat. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm curious, just under current circumstances, what do you think the first chance a student in our schools here get exposed to agriculture if they didn't grow up on a farm? Like, at what age level does that first happen for students now?
I feel like it's not even young. It's more when they get older. I've had friends that I grew up on a farm, and I've had a friend come over, and they're like, this is the first time I've ever seen a horse. Like, and that they're 16. So I feel like it's a lot older than what we think. And kids are like sponges. Them being able to be influenced with agriculture at a young age will teach them even life skills, but how to grow their own food, to be more self-sustainable and make the impact. Not only, and they can even take what they learn and show other kids too.
Just make a comment. You've represented FFA very well.
Thank you.
Time for one more question.
How would you get teachers, how would you recruit teachers to participate and do this in their classrooms?
So we've talked to a few principals about it, and they've been interested in the idea. So it's basically just if the teacher shows interest. We've already talked to a couple principals about it, and they showed interest, so I feel like they would implement that to the teachers.
And also there already are programs that like ag days, and we go over there and talk to them. So there's already an interest in wanting to get agriculture into those younger generations. It's just a matter of taking that step, giving them that hands-on experience to be able to understand their benefits and influence and make those choices.
Okay, well, we've got two more groups that are present to us this afternoon. The next group is based out of Elizabethtown Independent Schools. The name of the presentation is ELA All Day. The group's made up of Landon Casey, Jason Towell, Aiden Smith, Owen Miner, and T.J. Shorey. Please help me join us.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am T.J. Shorey.
I am Aiden Smith. I am Jason Towell. I'm Owen Miner. And I'm Landon Casey. And our project is called PLA All Day. We're from Elizabethtown High School. So our group first started by identifying two main problems. The first problem we identified is the lack of recycling at our high school. So every day, students and faculty members utilize plastic items such as water bottles and utensils. And whenever we dispose of them, the plastic goes straight to the landfills. There are very little recycling opportunities for our students. Another problem we identified is the rising prices of 3D filament. So in our engineering program, we use 3D filament every day. And 3D filament is a plastic that is used in the 3D printing process. This process is melted by the machines and is able to be molded and shaped into the designs and objects. And the price of filament is now about $20 to $30 per kilogram. So it's hard for our school to stay within our budget and also meet the educational needs of our students.
Our solution for this project is to purchase the ProRecycle Plus. It is a machine that has all include grinder, shredder, extruder, and spooler that can extrude recycled old plastics and old 3D prints into new, readily used 3D filament. This machine is trusted by Ford, NASA, and Vanderbilt. It's also used by other colleges and companies to help further their recycling abilities and different materials they want to use. It is a machine that can use 3 different main materials, which is PLA, which is the white filament roll on the table, ABS, which is the black filament roll on the table, and PET, which is in commonplace water bottles that you can see all around you.
So how the machine works, you first take the plastic parts or water bottles after they're cleaned and taken care of accordingly, and you put them into the grinder assembly, where then you turn the grinder by hand to produce tiny plastic pellets, which are easier for the machine to process. You then take those and dump them into a extruder hopper at the top of the machine, who will then melt them down and turn it into filament. And the filament is almost entirely accurate to the diameter used by 3D printers. That filament is then spooled up onto a roll and ready for 3D printing.
So you may be wondering, how are we going to accomplish this? Number one, we're going to purchase 2 ProRecycler Pluses and set up an area inside of EHS where we can use and maintain the machines.
In regards to recycling, we're going to purchase 4 recycling bins and set them up in our cafeteria. Not only is this the most efficient way to collect recyclable materials, but it is also a great way for us to encourage recycling at EHS. We've also been in contact with our school's environmental club. They will help us collect and clean any recyclable materials that we obtain. And we will potentially involve other schools into our program, which Jason will tell you about in just a second.
So this will not only greatly benefit our school because we have virtually no recycling opportunities. This will allow us to recycle and repurpose these recyclables into filament, which we use almost every day. This allows us to save a lot of money, seeing that we will not have to purchase nearly as much filament. This money will be able to go back into our engineering program to further introduce other students to this. We plan to involve surrounding schools. We have a program set up with LaRue County where some of the students come to E-Town for the first part of the day. And so we could allow them to recycle, collect their recyclables on the bus, and then turn it to filament and give them the filament back to help their engineering program. And we've also spoken to Mayor Gregory, and he loved the idea. We collaboratively came up with involving or placing bins around the community, especially in places like Freeman Lake, so that we can not only clean up our schools, but clean up our environment.
So you might be wondering how much this is all going to cost. Our biggest purchase is going to be the 2 Protocycler Pluses. That's going to cost about $6,300. So that's going to, like I said, that's going to be the largest part of our budget. As well as we're going to purchase 2 large supply packs from Reditech, the same company that produces the Protocycler Pluses. Each one costs about $500. Both of them combined is going to be $1,000. Included in each one is colorant packs and let's see here, colorant packs and ABS and PLA, 20 kilograms of that filament. Our smaller purchases include 4 recycling bins, which is going to total out to about $140, and then a large supply of acetone, which we can use to clean the recyclable materials. And for future purchases, you might be wondering, where's the extra money going to go? The extra money is going to go to maintenance and repairs of the machines in case they were to need repairs and maintenance. So, yeah.
The pros of our project is that it can save 80% on commonplace filaments. It can also fund our Makers Lab, which is what we're going to do when we have ready-made filament. It is a place where the engineering classes can run this, and any other the students in the entire school can run and use our recycled 3D filament and make and pay us to make any type of object and print that they might want to make for their self or to give somebody or a teacher. Teachers are also included to help buy materials and fund our Makers Lab.
So one potential problem with this is that the Protocycler Plus may not be able to process PET plastic. We have been in contact with Reditech, and they are actually researching this right now. Another potential problem is that it's a machine, there could be room for damage or the machine might break down, but we have allocated plenty of money in our budget to future repairs. And another issue is that this will take time to clean the bottles and run the machine, but we have spoken to our environmental club at EHS and partnered with them, so they will help us collect the plastics, clean them, and allow us to create a fluid system to run this idea.
So in conclusion, our project will help encourage recycling in our school and our community. Reditech has promised us to save up to 80% on our filament costs. So over time, our school will be able to save hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have our engineering program and environmental club involved. So even after we graduate and leave high school, we'll have plenty of people to help support our project going. And overall, we just believe the Protocycler Plus will leave lasting impacts. Thank you. I guess the machine will actually produce rolls like this when you're finished.
Yes.
So if you all can get those at a lesser cost than what you buy them from retail for, have you thought about maybe selling them to other schools or other places in the community that can help with that too? One thing we thought of is more recently our high school had a bazaar a couple Saturdays ago, and we actually produced prints, and our engineering program made about $500. So we were thinking about having more bazaars or even selling them at home football games or anything Panda Pride related. We believe a lot of people would be interested in purchasing these.
How long would this last?
It depends on really how much filament and how many projects are we doing per month. The machine will produce 1 kilogram roll, which is that black roll right there, and it produces in about 5 hours. And it will mainly depend on how much filament we can use per month or per week.
What current recycling efforts do y'all have at your school?
We have no recycling efforts, so this will allow us to recycle and repurpose these recyclables into items that we use every day in our class.
I guess with this, you have the resource to go out and take these efforts, and you utilize other clubs in the school to gather these from, you said you place them throughout the city, so how do you all have the ability to collect those?
So with us partnering with Fluor County, they already have a bus, so that would be the easiest. We would just have putting recycling bin on the bus, and we could just collect it every morning. But when we're planning on, when we do eventually expand to our community, we would have like about one of us per week just go and check on Freeman Lake and collect them and bring them back to the school.
After the collection, what's the process for cleaning the materials before they go into the machine?
Mainly it's just running them through water. If there's any adhesive, then we would use acetone, just rub it off. It's fairly easy.
Do you have a location in your school to do that?
Yes, we have an engineering construction room. We've actually been working, and there's plenty of outlets and plenty of space for us to put any bins or just store and put our machines.
How many bins of recycled product does it take to produce that?
The recycle that goes in the machine is about 1-to-1 ratio. It's a very little given amount that does not put into it, but what you put in is mainly what you're going to get out.
Are these machines easy to maintain?
Yeah, the machine is relatively easy to maintain. If the grinder jams, you can usually clear a jam by backing it down. And if there's a clog in the extruder, I'm sure that there's a tool that we can use to get that filament out after we heat it up.
I've got a quick question. How do you plan on disposing of the hazardous waste that will be brought out with use of acetone and some of the compounds that you'll be going through this process with?
In our engineering room, we'll probably have a setup, separated trash bin that we dispose of safely of any materials that we may not use. It is so that we can keep a clean, safe environment as we are working to recycle plastics.
All right, I think we're out of time for questions. Thank you. All right, we are down to one more team. This team is out of John Hardin. The name of the presentation for this team is Go, Go, Grab Arm. This team is made up of 3 individuals, Nick Goodwin, Braden Whitmer, and Yuhan Lin. Please join me in bringing them to the podium.
Hello, we are the Go Go Grab Arm team. I am Braden, and these are my friends Malia and Yuhan. Unfortunately, our friend Nick couldn't make it due to the pandemic. In our community, elderly and people with height disadvantages are needing help with the top shelf. Sometimes they will step on the bottom rack and reach for the high shelf, but doing this could cause injuries, and we just can't have that.
Another group that we're hoping to reach out to is handicapable people. So our grab arm is going to be located in grocery stores and on the motorized carts, which most people know that people that need them use them. And our grab arm is very simple and easy to use that anybody can use. And it also is adjustable to various size items and various weighted items. So how it works, like I said, it's for people that are big, small, tall, short. Anybody can use them. And as you know, I'm sure you guys have went grocery shopping and couldn't reach the top shelf. And that's our main focal point, so people can kind of have an extension of their own body. And our grab arm is going to be located, it's going to strap onto your forearm. And then right above that is going to be the handle with the button. And it's also going to be a manual adjustable arm, so you can adjust the length that you need to grab the items. And the button will help open and close the cloth. So how is it better? As you can see, these are two of the handheld grab arms that I'm sure maybe you guys have used them, maybe you guys haven't. But those are usually for people that have back problems, and it's for light-weighted objects like picking up trash on the side of the road or anything like that for volunteer work. Our grab arm is more durable and efficient and pick up at least 5 pounds, so that is what our grab arm is for. So the pros of our grab arm is the main point of it can reach the top shelf of things. It also has a button versus a handle, because it is more, so with the handle, like the handheld one, you have to clench your hand to like open and close the claw. And with the button, it's more easy on your wrist and your forearm, because the other one can cause strain, which can lead to carpal tunnel, and we're trying to help people and not cause more issues. And Braden actually has personal experience using one.
My dad once owned the simple grab arm that you saw on the previous slide, and I once tried to lift up a 5-pound weight with the helping hand grab arm, and it was just too much strain on my wrist, and we think it would be a lot better if it was with the forearm. Oops.
With the forearm, it also provides stability so you don't lose control of what you're doing or the item. And it also gives independence to handicapped people, elderly, and people with height disadvantage. So it's more time efficient rather than going to get a worker to help you get the thing off the top shelf. And as you know, workers, they're on their own time. Sometimes you're in a rush and you just need to get your stuff going.
Our cons. The straps will take a few seconds to put on, but it's better to be dependent to the other employees. Because when you put the straps on, sometimes you might need 2 hands, but we think it would be better if you just take a few seconds of your own time. We want the arm to be made of carbon material. Before we thought of using aluminum, but we think carbon is more supportive, and it will be manual extension. When you're for sitting down, you're going to need more force than standing up. And for the armrest, it's not going to be adjustable since it's going to be made of adhesive foam.
The grab arm will be a huge advantage to the people with disability. When sitting down, they will use the grab arm to help them reach the top shelf. Also for the people with disadvantage, they will use the grab arm with the menu extension to help them reach higher. This will save the employee and the customer's time. And the grab arm will be located on the side of the shelf in the beginning of the aisle. It will have an anti-lock system for children, and you will have a U-shaped cable holder.
The materials. The arm will be made of carbon, like I told you before. We want the claw to be made of structural metal instead of plastic. The armrest is adhesive foam, and we'll have a plastic platform in the middle. And the button is going to be a mini push button, so it's not too big or too small. So this is our prototype. The PVC pipe will be made of carbon. And then as you can see on the right side, you can see the Velcro straps and the metal platform. And at the very end to the left, you will see the claw. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a red button right next to the Velcro strap, which will have the handle on it and with the button on top.
4.2 feet long, and our goal is to lift 5 pounds. So the top calculation is the original 5 pounds. And you will need 80 pounds of force to lift a 5 pound, and the bottom calculation is our grab arm. And you only need 20 pounds of force to lift a 5 pound. And this is our budget per grab arm. Based on research, it's around like $100.
With $10,000, you can make around 100 grab arms.
For our implementation timeline, we're hoping to start our process in January with ordering the parts and finding our supplier, and also ordering the parts and finding our supplier. And then in February, the beginning of February, we're going to obtain our parts, and then mid-February, we're going to start our building and installation. Braden will be in charge of being our team leader, which basically keeps all of us on task and doing what we need to do. Yu-Hung is going to be in charge of the installation and the building process of everything. And I will be in charge of the efficiency of the team and making sure everybody's on task and doing what they need to. And I'll also be a support member, so if they need anything, I'm there for the extra hand or anything they need. And hopefully we should be done with our process by March. And that concludes our presentation. Does anybody have questions?
How much would this weigh?
Sorry?
How much would the grab arm itself weigh?
About a pound.
So you have in your budget maintenance of $2,000, what does that consist of?
What do you mean?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean?
You just have listed maintenance, $2,000, just what's that $2,000 go towards? You see it breaking, having to replace the straps on it? So in the budget for grab arm, you have like
Yes.
carbon arm, electronics, tiny motor, but then you have maintenance of $2,000, just curious.
Oh, okay, yeah, so.
Parts and things you have to get?
Yes, if one of the employees let us know that something's broken, we will fix whatever is broken with that extra money.
Were you able to have discussions with, say, store managers at Kroger and Walmart to determine a need for this, or customers have asked for it?
Yes, our friend Nick, he works for one of the local Walmarts, and he has asked customers and the managers of what they think. The employees think it will be a good use for them, and some customers think it's a bad and good idea.
What are your plans for keeping them clean, sanitized?
We hope the employees will make sure they're always back in the right spot and clean.
So grocery store has many items, from a bag of flour to a box of cereal to little packets. How many items do you think a store would carry that you could actually utilize this with? I mean, is it 50% of the products you could use this with, or 10% of products? Any idea?
The heaviest item that we came up with was a 1 liter Coke, and that's like the heaviest we could have gone up to.
So the grab bar, or the claw on the end, it expands
Yes.
how far? How big an item?
Maybe the size of the liter bottle.
Okay.
How many what is your goal to have in a local store?
Our goal is to save people time, and they can just get on with their day.
Our goal is to have one grab arm for each of the aisles and for all of the motorized carts, so anywhere from there to at least most of them, so it's not like, our main point is just to help people, so if it's hard to like access, that's what we don't want. So we're going to have it in a generalized area where people can find them, and I know some people don't put things back where they're from, so like if anything, you could go to the next aisle and they should have another one.
Would the stores be purchasing these, and if not, how are you selecting which stores get the benefit of your product?
We think we could lend it to them for free for a month and see how it can go, and if they want to buy it, they can buy it.
Do you have a price on that?
No, we do not yet.
Any further questions? All right, thank you very much. What a fantastic group. What a fantastic group of presentations today. We've seen some really innovative ideas. Really excited about the opportunities, and I do not envy the judges. So with that, we've got a couple of logistical things that I want to talk to the group about real fast. So at this point, I'm going to ask the judges to go ahead and go to your boardroom. Your meals are there. Looks like you got meals in front of you too, so you're going to eat some. And we will let you all start your deliberation and go ahead and have your lunch. Okay, everybody ready? Yeah. There we go. We were more excited at the end than we were at the beginning. I'm not sure how that works, right?
I don't think they understand that when you say that, you're going to keep saying it.
I am. They haven't been around me very much. Okay, well, we do have the results. We're going to be giving out prizes to first, second, and third place. So with that, we're going to announce the name of third place winner first. We're going to have the team join us up here. We've got a small gift to give each member of the team and the faculty and the teacher. Is a $25 gift card for each student. Just to be ranked in the top 3 in this caliber of presentations is significant. One thing I want to talk to the teams real quick about, and this is one thing that I failed to do last year or the year before when we started this, but I want to make sure we do this year. I am very impressed. I'm very impressed with the students, very impressed with the caliber of the presentations, and I mean that. I've been at Altec for 22 years. I've been around engineering and engineering to order, STEM-based stuff for 22 years. And I am always impressed when I see this level and this caliber of presentations and this caliber of critical thinking and just really trying to be a problem solver. So even for those groups that may not have made number 1, even if you didn't be the winner, if you're not the winner, don't give up. There were a lot of great things in here that we would like to implement, we would like to be part of. And I know that there's other people in this community that would support it, okay? So don't give up on your idea. If you didn't win, it doesn't mean it wasn't worth it, okay? All right, so with that, I'd like to introduce the third place team. This team, their presentation title was the Power Bench. Come on up, like to get a picture with the group. Give you your cards. All right, everybody kind of get in here. Katie, you and Trevor get in here as well. Take a picture real fast. Everybody say cheese. All right, thank you all very much. Congratulations. I have to say that I know the judges had a hard time. First 3 positions here are all very close. I heard directly from the judges that it was a very tough decision. So, second place goes to the Boat Boys. The way I saw them eat that $50 gift card at Chick-fil-A, was like, oh, that's Target, I'm sorry. If that was Chick-fil-A, it wouldn't have a chance. Oh, no. All right, thank you guys, congratulations. All right, first place goes to Aqua Food. So we've done this 2 years up to this point, and both years we've had an FFA team win the competition. Congratulations.
Vertically challenged in the front, vertically gifted in the back.
All right, congratulations, officers. Okay, so Aquafood, just real fast, before you all disband and leave for the day, I would ask that you all take the opportunity to meet with a couple of people out in front of the Altec truck. We'd like to take some pictures, have a photo opportunity out front with the Altec truck, okay? All right, so that is it for today, but I would like to say this. Thank you on behalf of Altec. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for the preparation. Thank you for the time that you put into this and the effort. All of them were fantastic, and we look forward to getting the opportunity to work with you all in the future. You'll have a great afternoon.
Well, 2 years ago, we were able to start the Aquafood lab at John Hardin High School. And then when we started selling the lettuce, we realized that lettuce can't do it on its own. And whenever we spoke with Warm Blessings, we went to every single food bank to try and find out what we can do better. And then they said that they need a protein source. So then we brought together our Altec presentation, and we knew if we won this, what we'd be doing, we would get protein as long as with our lettuce. That's why we sparked this idea.
This is very much a team effort, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So big $10,000. You just won it, but any plans for that money in the future?
What we plan to use it on is whenever we cash it out, we will start buying our systems for it. And then whenever we start buying the systems, we'll start harvesting the fish, we'll get them ready, and we'll sell them to Warm Blessings. That's what we're just want to use this money for.
My name is Katie Howlett, and I am an IS Senior Applications Consultant at Altec.
Okay, so give me a little bit of an overview about exactly what happened here.
Absolutely. So this is our second annual Altec Innovation Challenge. Locally in the Elizabethtown community, we work with students from Hardin County and Elizabethtown Independent Schools to do an innovation challenge which encourages STEM thinking in our schools. So STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. 32 teams submitted proposals of ideas of how to make their school or community better. From there, a group of judges selected 10 finalists, which today the Hardin County Extension Office gave presentations of their ideas with a $10,000 budget and an implementation timeline. From there, we selected the top 3 teams, and the winner will actually receive $10,000 from Altec and the Seislinger Foundation to implement their idea.
And why does Altec think that this is such an important program for the community?
Absolutely. Altec is a people company, and it's an innovation company. At Altec, custom build engineering for every one of our trucks is in our blood. So we spend a lot of time helping our utility, electric, telecom customers have newly engineered solutions that really meet their needs. And as a company that's really focused on raising up our people and our community, it's important to help high school age students understand what it takes to come up with a STEM idea and bring it to fruition. So with that, we feel like it's important to give them opportunities to innovate, and what better prize than $10,000 to actually see your idea come to life.